Terror in a press vest is still terror. Anas Jamal al-Sharif wasn't just reporting for Al Jazeera. He was a Hamas terrorist since 2013. We have the evidence. Head of a terrorist cell in Hamas's guided rockets platoon in the East Jabalia Battalion, associate of Yahya Sinwar, and a key player in Hamas's propaganda machine. The world calls it journalism. We call it what it is: manipulation and terror. Real journalists report truth. Terrorists disguised as journalists twist the truth and spread propaganda to serve their agenda. Al Jazeera, take note. Journalism is not a crime, but terrorism is a crime.
Is going on. On the Time magazine cover, they showed begging children for food. They made it look like it's a distribution center for food. What they didn't tell you, that it's just a set stage for a Palestinian-based photographer that works for the Turkish Anadolu news agency in order to disseminate fake photos of fake hunger, fake action. And he's also the guy that took photos of all the other ill people. The famous child, the little baby, and the famous old man. I think we have a picture of the old man who is, by the way, suffering from cancer. Has nothing to do with that. And that old man is now everybody is making money on him. I read tweets that basically, and I saw video. People come to him, give him cash, money. Take a video or a photograph of him saying, that he's been starved to death almost. Once the cameras are off, they take the money from his hand and they tell him, "We'll pay you later. Don't worry." This is the situation we have right now. Everybody's cashing on these people. And while the real ones that don't get food intentionally are the people under the ground that are the hostages. Even Ambassador Huckabee posted this tweet on X, and he basically said that the real people that are actually hungry are the hostages. He showed all the food that comes into Gaza. Look, enormous amount of food. The problem is that 88% of the trucks that the UN is taking in are looted. 88%. It's like...
We are switching our focus to another European media report about the situation in the Gaza Strip this week, as two leading German newspapers, Bild and Süddeutsche Zeitung, not sure I'm saying that right, published reports that are exposing what hunger exists. But the images of the hunger that is coming out of Gaza were published deliberately staged by Hamas. This is according to the report in the German newspaper. So, in an investigative article in the Sudanese Zeitung, it was written that medical experts quoted in this piece noted that the diseases themselves would not have led the children to such a poor state, but rather a deterioration resulting from the food shortages in Gaza. The article also revealed a photo illustrating how photographers staged scenes of waiting for food as if they were a real situation. It's very easy to place the camera looking to one direction and presenting a false image according to what you want. And that's what the Hamas photographers did in Gaza and then sent these pictures all across the world. And the bad part is that some very well-known influencers who use these shoots, use these photographs, publish them, and then raised the support for Hamas and against Israel and promoted this false campaign of starvation in Gaza. So this basically is raising a lot of questions about the reliability of the reports in all the media outlets around the world. And following the revelations, the German Journalist Association, DJV, warned the country's media of attempts at manipulation through images that are professionally but deliberately staged. The association's chairman, Mika Boyster, noted that the current war exposes an unprecedented use of the power of images, not only by combatants, but also by journalists, by intelligence bodies, and by other agencies. A professor of history and photography, an expert in Israel, who for many years researched the impact of images from Israel and the Gaza Strip wars, was quoted in the Zaytun report saying, Hamas is a master at staging images. The purpose of the pictures is not only to pressure and to present distress, but to dull the memory of the brutal images taken on October 7, 2023. Furthermore, Bild revealed that one of the main photographers who produced the images, Anas Zaid Fatih, was caught staging the shots while presenting himself as a reliable freelance reporter. As will come as no surprise, this photographer often publishes explicit anti-Israel content on social media networks. So you see, when I tell you that Israel is facing a flood of lies and deceit, and that's what we do here at Boots on the Ground, we share the truth of what's happening in Israel. And guys, this
images that we see, they don't always reflect the reality. And yet many news outlets, they publish them without context, treating propaganda as fact. I want to come back here in studio now to Dan Perry. So much of the imagery, it seems, is being staged or manipulated inside Gaza, but how can newsrooms responsibly separate this fact from fiction, especially when independent journalists are not allowed inside Gaza? What more can actually be done?
Well, you answered your own question. If there's no journalists inside Gaza who aren't Palestinians who are reasonably afraid of Hamas, and who knows, might be faking photos or staging whatever circumstances, there's not much you can do. You can apply your judgment. You can make sure that the local Palestinians that you hire have the highest ethical values as a journalist. And so all the obvious things. But, you know, I was the editor of Associated Press in the Middle East. That includes Gaza and many other police states. Can I honestly swear to you that there was no case of any photo being staged? It would be a lie. Of course you can't. But we did make every conceivable effort to avoid that happening, and that more or less begins and sometimes ends with the quality of the local people that you work for. I can attest that the local people that we had working in print and photos and TV in Gaza were the best that there can be. And by and large, I consider them to be very heroic, specifically and precisely because in working for a foreign outfit where many of their bosses were Jews and Israelis, they were exposed to a lot of anger of their fellow Gazans. Is it still the case now when the place is a ruin and the hatred for Israel's maximal? I'm almost happy I'm no longer in that situation because it really, really is very difficult. On the other hand, if Israel were to let in, foreign correspondents, who knows what would happen to them because the place is extremely dangerous. So Israel's not wrong in saying that if we did that and someone were killed, we'd be blamed also. Maybe they should end the war. Basically, I mean, this is such a messy situation that the stronger party is going to get all kinds of blame. But to your question about journalism, there's a point where you just have to realize that you live in the real world. What about, as we were talking before, in the United States, the reporters who cover the the waste disposal industry.
Information on the secret Hamas identity of Anas al-Sharif, the Al Jazeera journalist who was targeted in an airstrike yesterday near the Jabalia camp in the Gaza Strip. According to the IDF, the journalist's terrorist double was responsible for advancing rocket attacks on Israeli civilians, leading to the targeted elimination of Sharif and 6 others. The published records of Sharif's involvement with the terror group further cements the reasoning for his elimination. But beyond the information released by the IDF, NGOs and watchdogs are uncovering more evidence of Sharif's association with Hamas. Sharif was documented with Yahya Sinwar, the notorious butcher of Khan Yunis, who was eliminated in October of 2024, and other Hamas officials. Another video shows Sharif exclusive coverage of a Hamas ceremony where former Israeli hostage Agam Berger was released from captivity. In a last-ditch effort to humiliate and dehumanize the Israeli hostages before handing them over to the Red Cross, Sharif had been granted full access to cover this heinous event. Standing alongside the Hamas terrorist and just meters from Agam Berger, this is a Hamas certified journalist. But even more evidence is coming out. Take a look at this Telegram post from Sharif on October 7th, 9 hours, and the heroes are still roaming the country, killing and capturing. Hamas are not any person who claims themselves a journalist and then continues on to praise the murder and kidnapping of innocents is just vile. Now, surely the Palestinians themselves didn't know about Sharif's terror activities, except they did. Even the Gazan population have turned against Sharif. Take a look at this clip of Gazan civilians raging at Sharif.
كما تشاهدون الناس عامة الناس تسأل عن أنس شريف مراسل قناة الجزيرة مراسل قناة الجزيرة عامة الشعب لا يريد قناة الجزيرة ها هو أحد المواطنين يقول أن الصحافة قناة الجزيرة لقد دخلت المستشفى لعدم تغطية الحدث.
Looks like, unlike the international community, the Gazan population is not easily fooled.
Terror in a press vest is still terror. Anas Jamal al-Sharif wasn't just reporting for Al Jazeera. He was a Hamas terrorist since 2013. We have the evidence. Head of a terrorist cell in Hamas's guided rockets platoon in the East Jabalia Battalion, associate of Yahya Sinwar, and a key player in Hamas's propaganda machine. The world calls it journalism. We call it what it is: manipulation and terror. Real journalists report truth. Terrorists disguised as journalists twist the truth and spread propaganda to serve their agenda. Al Jazeera, take note. Journalism is not a crime, but terrorism is a crime.
Right now it's 6 p.m. By this time of the day, I usually got all of my tasks done, and I just go for a walk or maybe go to the roof for a bit, to take my mind off of everything that's been going on recently. So right now I'm going to the roof, and I'll take you guys with me.
Bro, look at
Now, this guy's in Deir al-Balah. Okay, I'm just going to stop it right there because I want you to look closely at these. They look like almost like hard-sided tents. They're not. They're soft-sided tents. But this is a safe zone designated by Israel, or it was designated at some point by Israel as a safe zone. It may not be right now. And they've got their tents set up. They've got solar panels. They've got water tanks down here, those black tanks down in the foreground. And there's a bunch of guys playing volleyball. They have a volleyball net set up and they're kicking the volleyball around. So, okay, that's interesting. This is Deir al-Balah.
these guys just chilling and playing volleyball.
I've always wondered why this area is called Deir al-Balah. Now, Deir al-Balah means the house of dates, or like the land of dates. And dates grow on palm trees. And look at this.
There are so many.
Okay, so this is Deir al-Balah. Look, you got a lot of trees out there and intact buildings. I don't see any piles of rubble yet. So this is one of the less impacted parts of Gaza, but Just
The CEO loses his shit when we mention Banks or the taxman. I bet you he's going to blow up here. Cam,
everything in Gaza is rubble yet. Okay, now the IDF is pushing into Deir al-Balah as we speak, and I'll talk about that more in just a minute.
Many palm trees, mashallah.
Now, like you guys probably know, Deir al-Balah is one of the very few areas that are still in good condition in Gaza Strip. And honestly, the last time I saw such a view was back when I was in Rafah, before we evacuated from it in May 2024. Because before we evacuated from Rafah, the area was still in good condition and there weren't many bombings there. But right now, it's been over a year and Rafah is nothing but trouble.
By the way, look how beautiful the sky is.
This is the view from his roof right there. I mean, come on. That is a beautiful sunset. There's one thing I always say about sunsets. Sunsets are God's gift to humanity. Uh, and the great thing about the gifts that God gives is that they know no class or creed or color or religion or uh, social standing or wealth or anything like that. The wealthy man and the poor man alike get to enjoy the sunset, and that is something else.
Oh wow, there's a bombing there. And there.
So there's some fighting going on. Okay, so now I wanted to show you. Let me just comment on that for a second. I'd love to get a hold of this kid and interview him. And he seems like a good guy. I mean, you watch the video and you realize these are human beings, and they've got the same desires we do, and they have the same needs we do, and there's got to be a lot of people in Gaza who are very tired of this, who would just love it to be over. But I want you to keep in mind, this guy's a military-age male. He's fit and healthy, and if everybody's starving in Gaza, well, he probably would not be quite as fit and healthy. He actually, in this video, shows the workout that he does, lifting weights during the day. And he's skinny. I mean, and he actually is very interesting. He counts all of his calories and reports. Okay, here's what I ate today, and I got this much protein. He does all his macros and this many carbs, and I ate grape leaves, and they're 13 calories each, and I had 35 of them, whatever. And so it's a fascinating look into what life is like in Gaza. But is that what you thought life would be like in Gaza? If you had to, what you had in your head based on the media exposure, would you have thought there would be guys playing volleyball down the street and a beautiful sunset from the patio up on the roof? I didn't. I mean, that's pretty fascinating. And this guy is online putting videos on YouTube and training people, doing fitness training with him. Maybe I should call him and get some workout tips or something. Now, I told